All right, JP, the man, the myth, the legend.
Hey,
he is back. First question.
Yes, yep.
Where you been, man? The people want to know.
Man, been in the lab, been working, working on this 100 series, also called the Gospel Grammar series, and had to take a step back from YouTube for a while to focus on that. There was just too many things at one time.
Right. But the people miss you, man. The last, I think, was the Core Crush series.
Yeah,
24 episodes.
We got deep into it, 20-something, 22, 23, something like that.
And people loved it. The comments, the views, the emails we got.
Yeah.
People been emailing us. Did JP get the Rona? Where is he at? Is he still around? And what do you want to tell the people? Why you been gone?
Well, I've been gone. As you know, we've been working on this, the biggest course that we've ever created since we've been doing this. And that's where I've been. It's taken years to actually create two at the same time. So, Like I said, I just didn't have enough time to do that, YouTube, and do this at the same time. I tried, but it was getting serious.
And there's this photo of us, the last course we appeared in together, I think 2009, Musician Transformation.
Oh, yeah.
And then me and you both made transformations.
Yeah, I still got a little bit more to go, but yeah, you made it bigger. Yeah.
Well, the funny thing is, when we started this course, I felt like I was doing well. And then as the Rona, quarantine.
Sitting at home, chilling.
I feel like I actually morphed through the course. So
okay.
it is 2 years worth of work.
I can't really see it, but you can.
We all know. We just know.
Yeah.
So it's called the 100. Why?
Well, it's called the 100 because we have 100 small, bite-sized, comprehensive lessons. In the past, we've done bigger courses, DVDs, where I know one of the ones I did was 5-6 hours.
Yeah.
Mike Burrell's course was about that long. So it was a lot of information, but it was a lot to consume, and then a lot of people didn't know where to start or anything like that. So, the 100 is something we've never done before. 100 bite-sized lessons.
So when you say bite-sized, what are we talking about? Because I know a bite-sized Butterfinger, it's smaller than the king size. Should people say, well, why are you giving me less?
Well, it's not like that. This is about how much you can consume at one time. So in the past, we've created DVDs, and it was great information. The structure of it was great, but it wasn't really broken up to the point where, because some people don't know when to stop. They'll watch the whole DVD, and they'll be at the end of the DVD, they need to know everything, which, that's the goal, but at the same time, just, having the ability to play the DVD and pause it and stop and learn this much, then play it again, and then learn this much. Some people need that structure of, only eat this much. It's having all this stuff on your plate and you're trying to eat it all at one time versus taking small bite-sized chunks and then really being able to consume it. When you do all that, it's you get overwhelmed once you have 5 hours of content. You know what I mean? Trying to just really consume it can be overwhelming. So although people can do it, but the structured approach I think is a lot better. And we ended up with 100, lessons out of it.
Wow. It's like that quote I heard, can a man die of thirst in the ocean or something? Which I think he can because it's salt water.
Never heard of that before.
Yeah, something like that.
That's a good analogy.
But, it's kind of like going to the carnival and you paid your $50 and you're like, I'm going to ride all the rides. You're trying to get on 50 rides.
Yeah.
When the reality is, you're going to start feeling sick because you're doing too much.
Right.
And sometimes it's just better to say, pay your $50 and get on 10 rides.
Exactly.
Enjoy it, go home.
You're still going to have a good time.
You're still going to have a good time. So I feel what you're saying is the 100, it's not that you're getting less information.
Nah, not.
It's just that when you have that DVD on and you press pause and on some TVs, it'll just turn off after. So you don't even know where you left off at.
Right.
You don't know where you were. So it's always this sense of starting all over.
Right.
And it's just a lot. And it kind of put the responsibility to be organized on you.
Exactly.
Versus this, you're on lesson 7.
Right.
7 has one concept. You took a quiz, you reinforced that concept.
Exactly.
It is what it is. You know what you practicing tonight.
Right.
Is that a fair sort of understanding?
That's exactly what it is. And, having the ability to do it on your own versus no, this is all you get. That's better because, there's tests to follow up with, and then you're also put in a position where you shouldn't move on until you actually know this much. rather than moving on and you don't really know how much you really have, as far as understanding. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. What's that scripture? In all your getting, get understanding.
Or yeah,
It's in Proverbs.
yeah.
Yeah. So gospel grammar system. The gospel I get, the system I know people get. What is grammar, and how does that relate to music?
Well, grammar, a lot of people don't know that music is a language. And the same way that we speak with our voices and with our mouths, our hands speak a language too. And the structure of it, people don't even know that playing by ear, there's structure to that.
They
So
just
that-
think like God gave it to you and it's
Yeah.
just in you, born.
Yeah.
You ain't following nothing.
Exactly. That's why sometimes when you play in front of people, they're so blown away because you can hear something, but what they don't know is that you're putting together patterns in your mind, and your mind is already used to a system of structure in your mind that they can't see. So that's what the 100 teaches you, how to understand the structure and the language of music, because in the same way, when you learn how to speak, what's the first thing you learn? Your ABCs. And with the piano, what you need to learn is your scales. Your scales are like the structure that you need to understand the next process, which is after you learn your ABCs, what do you learn? Your words. After you learn your words, you learn your sentences. So with piano, you learn your notes first, and your notes are like your letters, right? And then your letters create words. In the same way, like on the piano, your notes create chords. So it's like a system. And its notes create scales, scales create chords, chords create progressions, and progressions create songs. In the same way that letters create the alphabet, and then the alphabet creates words, words create sentences, and then sentences create paragraphs, and then you can get into stories. In the same sense where, progressions create songs, it's the same thing.
Wow, that's brilliant. I mean, so the grammar system, so I'm taking it, all the lessons are aimed at teaching a different part of the grammar. If we go back to English class, we learned nouns and verbs and adjectives, and it was like a certain sort of syntax or order of doing things that let you know, oh, you're speaking proper English, or you said that right. And as a kid, even before, we learned how to read or write in kindergarten, first, second grade, we understood how to talk.
Exactly.
And so it seems like that's what we're learning here on this piano. So like words, I know a lot of people say, man, how do you play those big fancy chords and where do you put them? I mean, would you agree that they're just words?
Well, exactly. A lot of people know how to speak, and some people could say the same thing, but so many different ways. Someone could take a sentence and enhance it, or even a word and enhance it and make it sound so sophisticated, but they're saying the same word, like a word that we use, jump. You could jump. That's a simple word, but you can also say catapult. That's a bigger word. So it's like once you have a vocabulary, it's about understanding the basics of the vocabulary, but then once you understand the basic vocabulary, then you start to learn how to enhance your vocabulary. And that's pretty much when you get into the more advanced levels of the language, you know what I mean?
So what would you say to someone who says, I don't know where to put a minor 9 chord? Y'all can have all that. When we get beyond the minor triad and minor sevenths, you lose me on the ninths and the 11ths. What would you say to someone who struggles to put that in songs or placements?
Well, those are what we call chord extensions.
Right.
And they have to extend from something. So if you don't know the root of what it's being extended from, then that is the issue that the 100 is going to solve, because you have to understand the basics and foundation of the language. So if you want to learn something like a minor 9, first you have to learn what a basic minor chord is. So say, for example, you want to play a C minor 9, right?
Right.
Can you play that without first understanding the basic word or the basic chord? The basic chord is C minor. So once you understand the basic word, that's like jump. C minor, that's your basic chord, your triad. And then once you get into understanding that, now it's like, how do I enhance that? Well, that's when you start to extend the chord, and you're extending the chord. It's like extending the word kind of in a sense, but it's still the same word, but you're just extending it. And then that's like jump. It's a little bit different, but it's adding some more sophistication to the basics of what you understand.
So if I even take us out the realm of music and just take us back to the language of English that we understand, that's like somebody saying, well, I know this word catapulted.
Right.
I don't know where to use it, man. Where do I use catapult?
In the same sentence that you would use jump, like when you have a sentence where you're saying something, the essence of the word is still there, but now you just have a more sophisticated way of saying it. So you could take a sentence where he jumped off a building, which I don't think he should do, but he got superpowers. So let's just say he lived.
He lived.
After he jumped off the building.
Superman jumped off the building.
Right, Superman jumped off the building, right? And you take that same word and say he catapulted off the building. But that's a sentence, right?
Yeah.
So in a chord progression where you have a chord like a C minor chord, let's say it's a chord progression, we talked about minor 2-5-1s. A 2-5-1 is a chord progression. When you get to the 1, you know, let's
You
say
have your keyboard on?
yeah.
Like he jumped off Superman jumped off the building. How would, if that were a chord progression, what would jump sound like? He jumped.
That would be like if I was to do like a minor, this is a 2-5-1 in a key of C, D to G to C, right? And this is just simple. So if I was to do that, it'll be like this.
So that's a minor 2-5-1.
Yeah, and notice how C minor just sounds different.
So that's he jumped.
Yeah, so this is the same sentence, but from a basic approach. You
So
know
that
what
would
I mean?
be the he jumped sentence.
Yeah, he jumped out the building.
Now somebody learned the catapult word. I don't know how we got off of jumping off buildings, y'all, because they didn't have the 100.
It's the person that came to my mind, but he got superpowers. Right?
So he catapulted himself.
Yeah.
What is that? So now he learned a minor 11 or a minor 9, but it's in the same sentence.
So basically, like before we get into the whole sentence, I would just show you like basically this chord right here is a C minor chord, right?
Right.
But when we enhance it, it can sound so many different ways. You know what I mean? So now
What's that?
it's still a C minor chord.
That's a big word.
But yeah, it's like a big word. We just enhanced it, but it's based off of you have to understand the basics. And then once you get into the extensions, all you're doing is, it looks crazy,
Right.
but when you understand the scales, all you're doing is extending it. So this same chord progression, like 2-5-1.
So I'll give you a word then that our audience is listening for. Oh, okay.
That's the same sentence. I just enhanced it. You know what I mean? It sounds better versus, you know what I mean?
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is, like when you study for the SAT or something, you're just learning words. You're just expanding your vocabulary.
Right.
Expand my territory. What's that song? Expand your... Enlarge my territory.
Yeah, exactly.
So enlarge my vocabulary. And as long as I know where the basic word goes, that's what we call it, the gospel grammar system.
That's the foundation.
That's the foundation. I can just mix and match. I can put bigger words there.
Expand upon it.
Expand upon it.
Exactly.
Enlarge. Okay. So jump is like a triad.
Right.
Basic. What's leap?
Leap will be just taking it like, okay, this is a C minor chord. So if I was to change it to leap.
I mean, do you agree that leap is a more interesting word to say than jump?
It depends.
He leaped.
It depends on who's listening.
Like how many people do you come across like, yo, he leaped, man. He leaped instead of he jumped. I don't know. Or he flew.
Just depends on the person and how they want to speak. And
So
that's
those
the
are
thing.
inversions.
Those are inversions. They could be the same thing.
Jump, leap, flew.
Yeah.
But when you get into another realm of a word like
It's still the same chord.
leapfrog.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's something you don't hear every day.
Right.
Right. So, okay, I get that. Okay, so when we talk about grammar, we're not just making this up. There's like a real equivalence between how you speak in real life and how you speak on this here piano.
And that takes away the fear. When you understand that this isn't just random, like there is a system behind this, it kind of takes away the illusion that this is so hard to do, because the same way you went to school and learned, you can do the same thing with the piano if you learn the system that we put in place.
Absolutely. And people don't realize how hard it is to speak. I don't mean to be deep, but we're the only creatures, at least that we know of on Earth here, that actually can speak. There's so many creatures out there in this realm, a dog, an elephant.
I'm not
some of them are speaking.
In elementary school,
You saw a dog speak?
my teacher, she had a dog. Her name was Miss Warren. She brought her dog to school, and her dog knew how to say her son's name. I couldn't believe it. And I think it might have been the only word that he knew, but I was just blown away by that. You know what I mean?
So you can teach a dog new tricks.
I've seen it for myself.
So that'd be like a dog playing a C minor chord. You probably could teach that too.
Nah,
You probably.
I don't know about that.
I've seen cat. I actually did see a YouTube video
Really?
where a dog. I don't know if they use their paw and their nose, but they played a chord.
Wow.
I mean, let's just say people are amazing. You know,
Oh, yeah.
they can train cats to do all kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But I get what you're saying. But also language is something such that, I mean, it took us a while to learn it, and
Mm-hmm.
you got so many languages out there in the world, and civilizations create their own languages, and I mean, even in Africa alone, there's like thousands of dialects. So
That's right.
you know, music is its own language, and if you learn its rules just like you learn to speak, is it fair to say these are rules you'll never forget?
It's definitely rules that you'll never forget, but then at the same time, as you were speaking, it made me really think about the impatience that when it comes down to learning music, people don't have the same level of patience that they had with themselves when they were learning how to speak or when they were learning how to be in school and write and, learn words. And, you went through so many stages. You went through kindergarten, then you went to first grade, you went to second grade, you went to third grade. So what we did with this course was rush you through school. Not rush you, but we made it in a way where you can go through those levels a whole lot faster, but then you can also reach your destination without the fear of failing. I mean, it's going to be a challenge, but at the same time, if you were patient with yourself then you should have that same level of patience with this system and learning, because it's a step-by-step system that you got to go through. And starting from 1 to 100, it's 100 lessons, and after each lesson, there's going to be a quiz, and you're going to be able to know if you're ready to move on to the next level.
Right. So you said bite size. So we're not talking about 100 1-hour lessons.
No.
So 100 what? 5-minute lessons?
A range. It depends on the subject matter. Some are 5 minutes, some can even be 3 minutes, but they're definitely smaller than what we've done in the past, which is like 5 hours. You know what I mean? Of one thing. So.
And a lot of our students, one of the main things is I work. I don't have time. They're trying to find the time. So if you know that you can come home and there's a 10-minute lesson, lesson 12, and you've really been patient with the first 11 lessons you took, you're 5 to 10 minutes away from a new concept, just a single concept, not a bunch of stuff, just one single concept, and you can be applying that night or tomorrow, however long it takes. You can move on to the next one. Is that pretty much the idea?
Yeah, definitely. That's actually the number one thing that I hear is I don't have enough time. And when you think about the day, I mean, how often do people find themselves watching TV or doing things that are taken away from them being great? And all it takes is dedication, a certain amount of time a day, but repetition. And with these videos, that kind of takes away the element of time, because in the past, if you felt like you had to watch a 5-hour video, you can be like, I don't got enough time. You know what I mean? Like, I don't got enough time to watch that. But you got enough time to watch 5 minutes here, 7 minutes, even maybe as much as 15 minutes. But that's a small amount of time, that you can dedicate.
Graspable concepts.
Exactly, graspable, whatever.
That's a hard word. I can't even say it. Now that's
Graspable.
Graspable. What kind of chord would that be?
I don't know, man.
Graspable, because what would be a more common way to say, attained chord?
Attainable.
Understandable.
Yeah, understandable.
Graspable.
Graspable.
See, but that's just how language works. You can come out with something, not so common, or you can come up with something common. Chords work the same way. So if it's 100 lessons, I know you don't know the exact overview, but what is someone learning at, say, lesson 3-ish? What might they be learning at lesson 30-ish? And then what might they be learning at lesson 90-ish? Just to, general ballpark.
Well, at lesson 3, you're just now getting started into being able to understand the concept of what the language of music is. So we're starting with the basics, the notes, and how to identify where there are. Like on the piano, like that's the thing. When people see a piano, they see all of these notes, but there's really only 12. And they just repeat themselves over and over. So really getting people familiar with the piano ain't as big as what it seems. So we're like making it a smaller thing to focus in on. So that way you can be like, oh, okay, it's not that much. It's not as much as I thought. It's not as overwhelming. And then from there, we get into, how to identify the black keys and note names and stuff like that. So when you're on level 3, you're at the ground level, but it's going to be really easy to understand.
So if I'm hearing this correctly, you're talking about something that like an infant.
Oh, yeah.
This is for the toddler that's
Kid.
just saying mama, dad on the piano.
Yeah.
We're really starting them from scratch.
Mm-hmm.
So then, you put it in the time, you do your daily bite-sized lessons, you exhibit that you know what you're doing by taking a quiz, you practice, you put it to good use. Mm-hmm. By lesson 30, what do you imagine we're doing? Ballpark. It's about a third of the way in.
So by lesson 30, we're into chords, and now we're starting to talk about how to, use our words and how to enhance one small word and how you can make it sound sophisticated. So now we're getting into the different chords, the qualities too. You got your major chords, you got your minor chords, all the different types of words that you would use, diminished, augmented. So we're in that realm, in that ballpark around that time.
Okay, and then fast forward, you got your vocabulary, you're making sentences, you're rearranging sentences, all that crazy stuff. You're putting the chords in real songs, you're finding words in real stories. What are you doing in lesson 90 then?
Oh yeah, we're full-fledged into this thing. We're playing chord progressions. We're showing you how you can do alternate things, passing chords. We're talking about movement, and we're putting this whole thing together. By the time you get there, you should really have a good, vast understanding of the language of music and how it works. And then you're almost able to, at that point, go and really start to explore real songs, and you'll be able to understand when you listen to a song, the structure of it and how everything is patterns, and you'll be well on your way.
Right. Now I'm interviewing you, and I know the answers to the questions that I'm asking, but this seems like something that should cost several $100s. You're talking about 100 lessons.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what should people expect, and what should they put aside in their budget?
I'm gonna be honest with you. I've been producing these courses for years.
Yeah.
And over the time of me learning how to produce courses, I had to do the same thing. I had to go out and I had to learn how to enhance my skills. And, for those who have seen
video editing, production, lighting.
You can see it. Going back to 2009, I've been doing this, and even all our older videos, you can see the quality slowly progress. And I can tell you this, I just bought a course recently where I paid $1,000 for the course. You know what I mean? So people are really charging a whole lot of money, and we actually have more lessons in our course than they have in theirs, even though the information is good, but our course is a lot larger, and I know we could be charging way more than than what we're doing. In fact, we're pretty much giving it away. Wow. So that's where our heart is, to help people.
So people that are listening are like, wait, it sounds too good to be true. You're taking 100 lessons, and you're a voracious learner. You're always learning something in some realm, and you're paying thousands of dollars for courses out there.
Yeah.
You mean Hearing Play is not going to set this up on a course platform or something, and charge several $100s to get access to these 100 music grammar lessons?
And that's the thing, that happened to me. I bought this $1,000 course, right? And then they was like, hey, I got this other course over here.
Even more than that?
They gave me a discount. They charged me, it was half of that, $500, and then you can get access to this. But essentially, if you really think about what we're doing, you're getting this course for being a member of the Gospel Music Training Center, but then you automatically get access to everything inside the Gospel Music Training Center as well. Where on this end, like you said, they're creating courses
for every little thing.
Yeah, they're upselling you on everything, and that really recently just happened to me. But the information, I needed it,
so you bought it.
I was willing to invest into myself, to learn, because it wasn't really anybody else that could present it in that way.
And that's what I learned about education, is that when you want someone to invest in what you're teaching, you also want to be the type that invests in others. There's like an alignment of, even when you're offering something of value, you're also the type of person to put yourself in positions where you're getting value from others. So the teacher becomes a student, becomes a teacher, becomes a student.
We're all learning, We're just in different realms,
Right. Yeah. So somebody can come in the Gospel Music Training Center And so what we've decided to do is throw it into the Gospel Music Training Center instead of doing what that example you just said, making it its own thing, charging in its own right. Because even the members of the Gospel Music Training Center know, even up until this time, we've over-delivered.
Oh, yeah.
And there's so much in there. 12-key challenge, beginner basement, core cardio, song stamina, gospel keys, core essentials, musician breakthrough, musician explosion, 1,000 song videos since, 2008.
Right.
Scale mastery series.
Yeah,
like it's loaded.
And those are all courses that we actually could sell separately and build a total different website and say, this is the musician's transformation course. Here, buy this and log in here. This is this course, the gospel core essentials course. Buy that over here. You know what I mean? So essentially, we always over deliver. So that's the goal.
So you're saying we're just adding this 100 series, the Gospel Grammar System, to Gospel Music Training Center.
Yeah.
So if you're listening to this interview and you're already a member,
right,
no additional cost.
No, you get it. You already
free.
got it. Yeah.
That's it. Additional.
And like I said, this course alone, we said hundreds. Like I said, I just bought one for 1,000 and it didn't have as many lessons as we have in our course. You know
and all of our lessons, 5, 10, sometimes 15 minutes. So even if we charge $1 per lesson, it'd be $100.
Right.
If we charge $2 a lesson, it'd be $200.
Right.
$5 a lesson, $500. Where can you go for that?
And although the lessons are short, the time that we put into each lesson can be worth way more than that.
Oh yeah, a 5-minute lesson could take 3 hours to edit.
Yeah, exactly.
So okay. So I get if they're a member of the Gospel Music Training Center, they already get it. But that begs the question for all the people who are not Gospel Music Training Center members: how are they going to be able to get it?
I don't know. Good luck with that.
they just out of luck, huh?
Nah, you got to be a member to get access to it. And
but what can they do then?
Sign up.
Sign up. Okay, so there should be a link in the description, a link on this page.
Right.
And as long as they're a member of the Gospel Music Training Center, they get this and no additional cost.
No additional cost, but not only just this. All the bonuses, the MIDI files, the backing tracks, all the other courses that we've created from when we started to now, it's like you get access to everything. Of course, this gift is something that, we're focusing on because we just created it, but that doesn't discount all of the other things that are in there that, should be spoken of as well. The courses, the Mike Burrell course, the Musician's Transformation, Musician's Explosion, where we brought all of those, all the greatest musicians that we could find to do and teach how their perspective of how they play in the church service. There's so much more than that, but of course, this is what we're talking about, the 100, but there's so much more.
Would you say this is the last resource anyone would ever need?
This and the Gospel Music Training Center is the last resources you'll ever need. I remember coming up, I wish I had something like this. I used to just have a tape recorder where I would go and record musicians. We didn't have YouTube to look at people, and then I would also have tapes and CDs where I had to listen to a chord. I didn't have any visual of what was happening, so I had to solely depend on my ears and drive my mama crazy. Like, I would be rewinding for like 30 minutes just to get one chord, maybe two, and take forever. You know what I mean? So with that experience and what we've gone through as musicians, it kind of it gives me pleasure to know that all that hard work growing up didn't go in vain, because now we can pour into more people and make it easier for them to learn.
Yeah, that's crazy. I heard a quote where someone who had become very successful in their field, they got to the point where they saw all these people coming up, and they asked themselves, how should I feel about these people potentially taking my spot or whatever? Yeah. And they had to rethink what they were looking at. And they had to say, well, these people should take your spot. You've helped them. They've stood on your shoulders so that they didn't have to start where you start. So you should find pleasure in knowing that because of you, people are going to start at a certain spot and get beyond you. That's like that guy who broke the 4-minute mile. They said no one broke it, and then all of a sudden he broke it by a few seconds, And then over the next year or so, a bunch of people started breaking it. What does that mean? He gave them hope. He gave them a starting point. It's like, oh, somebody can do this. I can do this. Inspiration. So I feel like all the tools and resources you didn't have before the internet, now you're able to be in that position to be that person to other people. And so what do you say to all the people that's like, man, I'm about to pass JP up. I got too much information at my fingertips.
Go for it. I mean, that's what I wake up for, to know, like when I look in my inbox and I see, hey, JP, you've helped me so much. I know that I'm making a difference, and that's pretty much what it's all about. I know I'm doing what my purpose is.
And we run across so many people you wouldn't even know, people that are famous on TV.
Right.
And then you look them up in our database, and there they are back in 2012.
Man, yeah,
I know
for
someone, he's on TV right now. I bought your stuff.
Yeah.
Bought your stuff back in the day. Another person.
How did that make
bought
you
your stuff.
How that make you feel?
I was like, it's crazy because, you know, it reminds me I'm getting old. But at the same time, when you can like look up people and because they say a certain thing or play a certain chord, you're like, that's awfully hear and play like. And then you look up their name and they're literally in your database. So that's what we're dealing with here.
Yeah, you never know. And there's so many people that have come across our stuff over the years. I mean, it's a good feeling to know the impact that we're having.
And the 100 is the latest of those innovations, Brother JP. It's been a pleasure, sir.
My pleasure.
I know people will want to get this series, and you said they need to do it now because inflation is real.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
What's happening very soon?
Gas prices, we're going to be going up on our prices.
We ending this on a urgent word.
I mean, it's
different
the truth.
kind of words.
It's the truth because it's something that we've been talking about for a long time, and we've never raised our prices
Ever.
Since we started, and that's been years upon years. And I mean, you can't pay, like, even with gas, everything goes up.
Everything has gone up.
You know, so we're at that point now where it's like we have to make a decision and raise the prices.
So existing members, they'll get locked in.
Right.
New members coming in, if they don't get in relatively quickly, so this month, then at some point, you know, the price is going to go up for people coming in. So the best thing that people can do is take advantage of it, get in early.
Get in early while you can, because like when the price goes up, you're going to be stuck at that new price where everybody gets to happily keep that older price. You know what I mean?
Right. And even at the new price, what would you say?
The new price is still, when you think about piano lessons and how much people charge, it's still reasonable. You know what I mean? But you know, we still gotta go up. It's reasonable, like $100 versus
half of that.
Right.
All right. So I think we've got something great here, and people should really take advantage of this. The 100, the gospel grammar system, coming at you live, the best and the latest development of Hear and Play and the Gospel Music Training Center. Folks, this has been JP. And remember, if you can hear it, you can play it.
Peace.